welcome to the March 9th, 2026 meeting of the Franklin Historic Zoning Commission. I'm Vice Chair Brian Laster, and I call this meeting to order. So tonight's meeting will follow in this procedure. After I introduce your item, staff will provide their report to the commission. And when I call your name, please proceed to the speaker's podium. After your comments have been made, please return to your seat while the commission discusses your application. So this portion of the meeting is reserved for citizens to be heard on any issue or concern. If you're planning to speak on a specific item on the agenda, please wait until the citizen comment period for that item. For all citizen comments, please fill out the speaker's card and hand it to staff. Come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 2 minutes. So are there any citizens who would like to speak to this commission at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to the agenda items for tonight. So item 1 concerns our minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the February 9, 2026 minutes.
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Angela? Everyone ready to vote? Any comment? All right, all those who are for approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, now we move to staff. Staff, do you have any announcements?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The March DRC meeting is on Monday, March 16th, and it starts at 4:00 p.m. here at the Eastern Flank Event Facility. And the deadline to submit an application is by midnight tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll move on to the application portion of this evening's meeting. So if I have no objection from our commission, items number 4 and number 8 are requesting to be heard first because of a scheduling conflict with the county commission meeting tonight. So seeing that, let's move on then to item number 4, if I have no objection. So Emily, would you like to address that item?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Let me flip to this. So, the property at 210 3rd Avenue North is located within the downtown Franklin National Register Historic District. The proposal includes the demolition of the accessory structure, alterations to the principal building, in addition to the principal building, a new accessory structure, site alterations. All of these are appropriate within the guidelines except for the ramp installation. Therefore, staff recommends denial of the ramp installation based on the following guidelines that state, for residential buildings, provide a landscape front yard and minimize paved or hardscape areas, do not fully remove and replace traditional lawn areas with hardscape, and position ramps and lifts on the rear or side facades where not readily visible. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the portion of the application that includes the demolition of the accessory structure, building alterations, building addition, new accessory structure, and the repair of the fence with conditions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Aaron, are you here? Aaron Rogers? Could you please come to the podium and state your name and address?
Aaron Rogers, 906
There you
Studio
go.
Architects.
And do you have any other comment than what staff has provided?
I do. In regards to the ramp, we feel that it doesn't meet the spirit of the accessibility code to have it bringing people in the rear of the building. And we do have other constraints at the sides of the buildings due to setback encroachment. And so really the only place that we can see that ramp going is in the front of the building. It is a low slope ramp. It won't have handrails, less than 12 inches of rise. We have added some landscape buffers around that ramp. So we're trying to the greatest extent possible to meet the spirit of the guidelines, but we don't see another alternative for that ramp.
Okay. Well, thank you, and you may take your seat.
All right, thank you.
So I'd like to go to the commission and entertain a motion. And let's take this into three separate motions. So first, I'd like for us to talk about the demolition. So do I have a motion on the demolition of the accessory structure?
Move for approval with the 6 staff conditions.
All right, thank you, Michael.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, any discussion from the commission on the demolition? Ready to vote?
Yep.
All right, everyone in favor of demolition, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. All right, the motion passes. All right, so let's move on second to the building alterations. I think we can group these into everything. Building alterations, the addition, and the accessory. Do I have a motion on that particular part of the motion, of the application?
Mr. Vice Chair, I would make a motion to approve with staff conditions.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Angela. All right, any discussion on either the alteration, the addition, or the accessory structure? And I know we've already seen this several times in design review. So if there is limited discussion, I think that might be why.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, would you include the site alterations that include repair of the existing fence in with that? That's just the one other thing.
Will that work for you, Kathy and Angela?
Yes, to amend it to include the areas of the fence that needed to be replaced.
Okay. So I don't think we actually need an official amendment. We just include that in the original motion?
Yeah.
All right, any discussion on the fencing? Everyone ready to
Please.
vote?
Straightforward.
All right, all those in favor of approving the building alterations, addition, and accessory, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion carries. All right, so now let's go to the site alterations having to do with the ramp. And do I have a motion?
Mr. Vice Chair, I would make a motion to deny.
Okay, I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kathy and Michael. All right, any discussion on why, of course, we've already heard the conditions that staff has said. Any other discussion on the ramp and where it might be located other than the front, in the front yard?
I have a question for the applicant.
All right, Aaron, could you come back to the podium?
I'm looking through the drawings and are you providing any parking on this property, handicap parking, or is it just on the street?
There's existing parking, the side of the house and then on the street as well.
Is that indicated on any of your drawings anywhere?
I believe,
I'm looking.
if you scroll back up to the site. Yeah, there's our site diagram there. We may not have called that out explicitly.
Show me where it would be located.
To the plan north of the home there, there's existing parking. And then also at the front, there's spaces on the street as well.
And where is the ramp located on this plan? I'm trying to-
It's right in that location, correct?
Is what?
Right where the cursor is. Emily's moving the cursor there.
It's right in front of the gable of the house.
Yeah, but the ramp's not actually shown on this drawing.
If you scroll down through the drawing set there, there's a photograph of, right there's the existing front, so we would have it just below the gable form.
and I think it's shown on page 8.
And
My,
we-
my question is the relationship of the ramp to the parking,
That would be the closest proximity
to have it in the front.
to have it in the front.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the challenge for you, and I think what is with respect to historical properties, is not to have it in the front, but you still meet an ADA requirement of having that connectivity as close as you can to the parking location, which is why I was asking if there was any parking where the ramp, if we were to propose you to give us another look at putting the ramp elsewhere, in the back per se, and then tie a parking spot to that.
Yeah, we've looked into it, and we feel that the front is the most appropriate access point for that, and it leads into the front reception area for the building as well. Any other ulterior ramp location would be entering in through the back of house, through the private part of the office space.
Okay. Any other questions, Kathy,
I would-
for the applicant?
I would need to see more convincing evidence of that with your documents.
Okay.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So Emily, could you advance one more to 8? Is there one more? There we go. So it's in the very front, and you can see it at the gable. See now, so scroll to the second one. So that's where the ramp is currently being proposed. Ideally, and I agree with staff, and I agree with you too, Kathy, that the ramp would be better in another location to actually meet our guidelines. And I've always thought the side entrance to the porch would be the best place. And I think what's being the obstacle currently is that stone-based sign that you see on the right. And there may be some kind of some kind of plumbing kind of fixture too that's on the side. But if those things could go away and the ramp could be on that side, to me, that would be a better location for the ramp.
Well, that in a little more detail about how you're getting from the street to the ramp itself. There's none of that shown on here either.
Okay, so everyone ready to vote? Any more comments? Ready to vote? All those in favor of denial of the ramp, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. All right, so I guess I would encourage the applicant to get with staff for another design review committee meeting, and so we could discuss this further. All right, so let's move on to item number 8, the consideration of new construction and accessory structure at 121 3rd Avenue North. So Elizabeth, I think you have this one.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. The property located at 121 3rd Avenue North is located in the downtown Franklin National Register Historic District. The site features a circa 1910 1.5-story frame dwelling. The proposal includes a request to construct an accessory structure to create a covering over the existing rear deck. The proposed structure utilizes a 1-story open-air design with a simple side gable form. Staff recommends approval of the accessory structure with conditions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So Aaron, is this you as well? All right. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Aaron Rogers, 906 Studio Architects.
All right, and do you have any further comments from what staff has said?
I do not.
All right. So I'd like to entertain a motion from the commission.
I move that it be accepted with the staff conditions.
All right, do I have a second? All right, thank you, Angela and Holly. All right, any discussion on the application? Ready to vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, so let's go back now to item number 2. And that is the consideration of alterations, principal building, roof painting, and door infill at 717 Glass Lane. Do we have Will Fort with us today? Oh, I'm sorry, staff's first, I got out of line. Elizabeth, I think that's you this time.
Yes. The property located at 717 Glass Lane is located in the Boyd Mill Avenue Historic District. The site features a 2004 two-story frame dwelling. This proposal includes a request to alter the principal building by painting the accent metal roofing and to infill a secondary entrance at the front of the building. The proposed method of preparation and materials to apply the paint appears appropriate and may extend the life of the existing metal roof. As this is a non-historic residential building, the proposed painting of the metal roof is appropriate. The proposal also includes a request to infill a secondary entrance on the front facade located on a recessed wall under the front porch, with siding to match the existing siding. The infilling of the entrance is also appropriate for non-historic residential buildings. Staff recommends approval of the alterations with conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, Will, could you come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
I'm Will Ford, 113 Bridlington Lane, Brentwood.
Thank you.
And,
Do you have any comments other than what staff has said?
I think it covers it all, actually. We've tried to find the best paints that we can get. It's one of the better metal roof painting systems on the market, I believe, and has at least a 5-year warranty. And as for the door that the owner would like to remove is, actually, the house was boarded up on the inside, and it was actually finished out with drywall on the inside of that door, so it's a door to nowhere, actually, and she just prefers to eliminate it.
Okay, and I see it looks like you've brought a panel that's painted. Would you like to show that to the commission?
Sample of the painted, in the color that it would be painted in.
All right, well, thank you. You may take your seats. Are there any citizens that would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to go to the commission and ask for a motion.
Move for approval with the 2 staff conditions.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
Thank you, Angela. All right, any discussion on this application? Ready to vote? All right, all those in favor of approving the application, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on. So item number 3, consideration of window replacement principal at 103 Cottage Lane. And Emily?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property that is at 103 Cottage Lane is located within the Boyd Mill Avenue Historic District. The building was constructed within the circa 2010s, and the proposal is to replace all 25 windows on the building. Staff recommends approval of the application with conditions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So do we have Steve Dolan with us today? Steve, could you come to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
Steve Dowland, 103 Cottage Lane.
All right, thank you. Any comments other than what you've heard already?
No comments.
All right, well, you may take your seat. Thank you. So I'd like to entertain a motion from the commission.
I move to approve with staff conditions.
Thank you, Holly.
Second.
Angela, thank you. All right, any discussion on the application? And I know we've seen this one in design review before as well. All right, ready to vote? All those in favor of approving the application, say aye.
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 Those opposed? The motion passes unanimously. All right, moving on to number 5. This is the consideration of a rear yard fencing at 135 4th Avenue South. It's the county courthouse. Elizabeth, I believe this is yours.
Thank you. The property located at 135 Fourth Avenue South is located in the downtown Franklin National Register Historic District. The site includes the non-historic Williamson County Judicial Center, a parking lot, and the historic Dan German Building. The proposal includes a request to construct a new rear yard fence and gates around the perimeter of the parking lot to the right of the county courthouse building and behind the Dan German Building, paralleling Church Street. The design of the fence features a 2-foot-tall brick wall and a 4-foot-tall vertical board wood privacy fence segmented by 8-foot-tall posts with cast stone cap detailing. A pedestrian gate is proposed along 4th Avenue South and features a solid metal design and an adjacent panel. A vehicular gate is proposed along Church Street, which features vertical metal panel detailing as well. The use of wood, brick, and metal are supported materials for rear yard fences. While the combination of a brick wall and wood privacy fence is not historically seen in the downtown Franklin Historic District, the design is seen at the non-historic brownstones in the district and has been approved for other new residential buildings in other historic districts. It is more common historically to keep the materials consistent, either all brick or all wood privacy fencing. The use of brick columns elevates the proposed design of the fencing, further relating it to the higher style architecture of the courthouse. The proposed materials are compatible with the architecture and materials of the courthouse and the nearby Dan German Building. Staff recommends approval of the rear yard fencing with conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have James Denny with us tonight. Could you come to the speaker's podium and state your name and address for the record? Good afternoon.
Hey, James Denny, 5711 Old Harding Pike.
All right, and do you have any further comments?
I don't.
Okay, well, thank you. You may take your
Great,
seat.
thank you.
All right, do we have any citizens who'd like to make a comment on this application? Seeing none, I'm going to move to the commission for a motion.
I move to approve with staff conditions.
Thank you, Angela. Do I have a
Second.
second? Thank you, Michael. All right, do we have any discussion on the application? Kathy?
Yes, I do, Mr. Vice Chair. I wanted to ask the applicant, one of the staff conditions was concealing the mechanical
Mr.
and
Denny, come on
electrical
up.
equipment, and how would that happen? Your thoughts on how that would happen?
Yeah, we actually have it set up to where the door operators are located on the non-pedestrian side, on the, so they do both open and inward at the moment.
Thank you, your drawings are very detailed,
Oh, good, thank you.
but I don't see the equipment on it.
Oh, it's the,
Mechanically, where, but
it's
is
that
it?
little box on the bottom,
Okay,
yeah.
and the gates would be swinging inward, correct, not outward to the sidewalk?
yes,
That was
ma'am.
another condition.
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Okay.
And we've actually provided enough space to where cars can queue without getting in the way of the sidewalk as well.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I'd like to ask the commission for discussion perhaps on the materials, the brick and wood, which is, we don't really see that often in our historic zoning, our historic preservation overlay. We know there is a fence similar to this on First Avenue, but that's kind of on the margin where this is more in a central area with two streets that are prominent streets, Church and Fourth Avenue South. So I'd just like to get some feedback from the commission on the material. Brick and wood as opposed to solid brick or brick and metal.
I'll make a comment about that. I find that it is, the proportion of the wood in relationship to the brick is somewhat like balanced, I think, that it doesn't jump out. It sort of just kind of fades away, and the brick is more prominent, and I think that's more important to the character of the fence.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
I would agree with that, and I like the fact that it's mixed materials. I like the wood and the brick together. I think it will soften its appearance from the street, in my opinion.
So, we ready to vote? All those in favor of the application, say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, the motion passes unanimously. All right, so the next two that we have will deal with Harlansdale and the worker houses. So let's start with number 6. That's a consideration of building alterations and site alterations at 247. Number 1. Brandon, are you here? Please come to the speaker's podium and state your name and address for the record.
I'm Brandon Pretty with 906 Studio Architects.
And Brandon, could you stay right there while staff gives us their report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property at 247 Franklin Road is located within the Franklin Road Historic District and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places as a part of the Harlansdale Farm property. The proposal includes the restoration of the building and site alterations to the Worker House 1. Since this is a city project, staff does not make a recommendation, but there are some potential conditions should the Historic Zoning Commission approve the proposal. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any citizens who would like to make a comment on this application? Seeing none, Brandon, would you have anything to add to staff
Here to-
comments?
Here to answer any questions.
All right, great, and you may take your seat. So I'm going to the commission for a motion.
Move for approval with staff conditions.
Thank you, Michael.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kathy. Any discussion on the application? Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay, so all those in favor of the application, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so number 7, consideration of building alterations and site alterations at 255 Franklin Road, Harlansdale Farm, Worker House number 2. So it looks like Emily?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property at 255 Franklin Road is located within the Franklin Road Historic District and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places as a part of the Harlansdale Farm property. The proposal includes the restoration of the building and site alterations to the Worker House number 2. And since this is a city project, staff does not make a recommendation, but there are some potential conditions should the Historic Zoning Commission approve the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. And Brandon, could you come back up to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
Brandon Pretty with 906 Studio Architects.
All right, any additional comments?
No, actually, one quick caveat. We're calling out composite wood. I know we had discussed that at DRC. We're going to do just natural wood. We'll seal that, so we're not using any composite wood there. That's for both. I meant to mention that.
Thank you. Are there any citizens who would like to make a comment? All right, seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion from the commission.
Move for approval with the staff conditions.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
Angela, thank you. So any discussion on item number 7?
Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to ask the applicant, what was the reason for going back to natural wood, like the existing material there?
We had discussed composite at the previous DRC, and the general sense is composite didn't fit as well. Just wasn't going to be as good of a use. Spoke with city staff. They weren't worried about that as a maintenance item, so we're going to have regular wood and seal it, and they'll be able to maintain it.
Yeah, and our guidelines don't recommend composite.
Yeah.
And I think that's easier for you for replacing what needed to be removed and then
Yep.
otherwise. So glad to hear that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, thank you. Any other comments or discussion? Ready to vote?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor of number 7 in the application, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. So on to other business. Staff, do you have some extra announcements for us?
We do. Elizabeth has come around and chatted with y'all before the meeting, but our legal department has sent out a couple of reminders about the legal training that is on April 1st. And so be checking your city emails, RSVP, so then we can get you a lunch, that sort of thing. So be on the lookout. If you don't see that email, let us know, and we will resend that email. Also, we sent out an email polling everyone about their availability for the upcoming Historic Zoning Commission annual training. So if you all wouldn't mind checking your email about that and letting us know your availability for the upcoming training. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, do we want to just stay longer, or anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, Angela? We did 4 and 8 in the beginning. All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I guess all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Okay. Seriously.